welcome to races 5 and 6 of the 2022 AVION Motorsports RS1 Series season at Penticton Speedway. My name is Cole Sorensen, and alongside Joe Chisholm, we'll be bringing you all of the action from the twin 100 lappers here at this tight, short track in the mountains surrounding the beautiful Okanagan city of Penticton. And Joe, with the reprofiling that this track had last year, it is a very racy facility.
Oh yeah, 2 and 3 wide, Cole. Man, have we got a peach of a night here in the beautiful setting of British Columbia. This race, look, I got goosebumps. This one's going to be a dandy, and I know the fans here, sun-drenched and ready to go, bud.
Perfect conditions for racing here at Penticton Speedway as you get a look on board Yanni Kirstos' number 16 machine. Yanni, one of the Penticton Speedway regulars in the street stock division as the field rolls off for the first few pace laps. And Joe, a stacked field here of some names that people know, and then the interesting thing is you have some drivers making their first ever oval starts just a few races ago in this AVION Motorsports RS1 Series season.
Not only are these cars evenly matched, Cole, but look at the diversity amongst the drivers that are behind the wheel of these cars. We got real crafty veterans on road courses. We got crafty veterans on oval tracks. They've had a little bit of both this year. Now it's back onto the oval. And, well, of course, coming off the oval in Saskatoon. But tonight, Penticton Speedway, I don't know, man. We could see a different cast of characters at the top of the charts here tonight.
Well, we saw Noel Dowler and Riley Siebert get the win in Saskatoon, but different challengers here ranging from Yanni Kirstos, as we mentioned, to Sarah Cornett-Ching, Cameron Haley, back in the series again, making the announcement that he's running full-time. Look at Riley Siebert, the Super 009 machine. You're getting a look at his view. He's got some work to do, of course, with the invert in this race, starting closer to the tail end of the field with some of the other drivers out front. Jay Logie, Jack Herniuk on your front row as the caution lights are out around the speedway. The pace car will pull into the infield, and Joe, we will get ready for the first of two twin 100 lap races. There is Riley Siebert with Sean McIntosh on the outside, buried back in the pack after a strong qualifying run. But we are green from Penticton, and Jay Logie with the early race lead with Jack Herniuk on the outside as they work their way down the back straight. And Logie with the early advantage, but Herniuk coming back to the outside, Joe, just showing that this is a two-lane racetrack here at Penticton Speedway.
Oh yeah, a lot of side-by-side here tonight, Cole, as the cars come off turn number 3, heading down the back stretch. Pardon me, going into turn number 3, coming off 2, and back to the start-finish line. These guys are going to be side-by-side a lot here tonight.
Adam Dowler has already worked his way up to the second spot as you look on board of Riley Siebert. And Dowler closing in on Jay Logie. Adam still young in his racing career as we get a look on board one of the McIntosh cars for Kermack Collision as the 64 car now to the inside. Matt Stephenson, one of those regular racers here at Penticton Speedway in their late model division, trying to get to the inside. And Jason White, the number 33 car, another one of the drivers buried back in the pack, going to the inside of Jesse Webb as Yanni Kirstos works his way up through the field in the 16 machine. Oh, but Billy Cole spins in front of him, and there's a whole lot of cars that are going to get collected up in that. But Joe, looks like it's only so far the 16 and the 67 that are stopped in turn number 4 to bring out the yellow flag. And that was just a case of somebody getting spun in front of Yanni, young Yanni, in the 16 machine.
Quickie caution for the 67 car. No harm, no foul. A couple cars get spun around. They get them all collected and get them all back into shape. And this one, Cole, won't be long, and they'll be doubling them up behind that beautiful Penticton Chevrolet Camaro.
And Adam Dowler will be the man leading the field back to the green flag. Billy Coles was circling around there after a quick stop in the pits. Again, problems for the 67 as the flag man giving the signal up there in the flag stand to bunch him up into 2x2 formation here. 5 laps completed so far in this 100 lap affair as we get ready for a restart, your field, again, bunching up behind that AVION Motorsports RS1 Series pace car. Jason White will be starting on the outside. Yanni Kyrgios, as we mentioned, in the number 16 machine, having problems in that car, now having to work his way from the back, and Riley Siebert on the inside of Mark McIntosh, with Sean just ahead of him as the green flag waves. Jay Logie and Adam Dowler will lead the field back to the green. A lap car, the 17 machine, to the outside as they work their way down the back straight. As Dowler out in front, 3 wide, a little bit further on back, with Siebert looking to the inside. We got another spin. That's Jay Logie in the number 19 machine. And Joe, as we mentioned maybe in a few other broadcasts, cautions tend to breathe cautions, especially in this RS1 series, as in almost every race series when the field gets a little bit bunched up after a restart.
Yeah, absolutely, Cole. You see the 19 car pushed up against the wall there a little bit. I happened to catch out of the corner of my eye. Looked like Jay bounced it off the wall, trying to get the car righted. He'll do that. He'll join the field again. A little bit of heartbreak. It's pretty hard in these cars. The RS1 series, of course, evenly matched race cars. I don't mean just they run by the same rule book. I mean these cars are prepared, fed and watered, sheltered, if you will, all at AVION Motorsports, and they are prepared and worked on by only AVION crew members. They've got a monumental task. But these drivers, they literally arrive and drive one of the coolest series in all of Canada, probably all of North America, truth be known. When the word gets out on this baby, there's going to be more demand. And I know we got a lot of cars now. Just wait to see what the future holds for this series.
And tire pressures, and as well as the wing angle in the back and those more road race style adjustable wings, some of the few things that these drivers can actually adjust with the 604 crates, of course, underneath the hood of each and every one of these vehicles with dry stuff, which is unique to these race cars. They actually had to have that system be custom built. As once again, we will line the field up and get ready to go here for another attempt at going green, with 5 laps completed in the first of this 100 lapper, as again, Yanni Kyrgios in that number 16 having to work his way up through the field. Riley Siebert in the 09 to the inside as we get ready to go back green. And we are racing as you get a look at the front of the field, trying to pull away. Jason White stuck in the outside line as Adam Dowler, your race leader, out in front in that number 53 machine as they work their way down the back straight, rather the front straight, going into 1 and 2. There is Adam Dowler, and Dowler, a driver that didn't have a whole lot of experience in full fendered cars until this season. Also a rookie in the West Car Late Model Series in the north of British Columbia, trying to work his way to the front, and is at the point at the moment with the 17 car chomping at the bit right behind him. Jason White with Cameron Haley on the inside, and Joe, Cameron Haley, an exciting addition to this series for the 2022 season.
Man, was Cameron Haley a welcome set of all of it. Oh, we got a spinner. The 6 goes around, and that just may draw the caution in. Sure enough, there it is. The 6 gets it spun around. This is going to be a quickie caution, but you're right. Cameron Haley jumped into the series back in Saskatoon. Great to see Cameron back behind the wheel. He had not been behind the wheel of a race car since way back, I say way back, a few years ago in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Of course, Cameron was the only Canadian at that particular point in time that was running the full series down there. Life gets in the way, you know, and Cameron gave up the truck series, come home, of course, with the family business, Cabinets by Haley, and just great to see him back in a race car. He got in for a one-shot deal out in Saskatoon in this RS1 Cup Series. That was it. He was hooked, and of course the announcement came out. And Cameron Haley going to go full tilt from Saskatoon all the way to the end of the season. That'll wrap up at Area 27 come September. Of course, all these races, including tonight's show, these are all for Super Seal Championship points. So you want to gain spots, track position is key. You don't want to lose it like Logie did earlier. You don't want to lose that track position. It's pretty hard to regain it, especially against guys like Dowler and Jason White, and of course, the Seaberts, and so many good competitors. And the field is starting to double up again behind the pace car. We're going to get this thing back under the green flag. They're looking, Cole, for that long green flag stretch so that they can actually seed in, find out what the car's doing. Of course, this, the first 100 of 2 that are going to happen here tonight under a beautiful blue sky here in Penticton Speedway. Back to green.
And Adam Dowler leads the way in the number 53 machine. And I said that the 17 might have been a lapper, a little bit early for lap traffic. Jimmy White behind the wheel of the 17. We saw him at the Western Rattler 300 have a top 10 run in the super late model. Back behind the wheel of an RS1 car, currently in third, is Matt Stephenson, another one of the drivers in the Western Rattler 300 that you saw earlier here on Rev TV. Looking to the inside, now up to second, trying to track down Adam Dowler as your race leader. The 53 car is still out in front as Jimmy White coming to the inside, and Joe, the driver that you mentioned, as one of the contenders, Jesse Webb in the 94 car, has already worked his way up to the 4th position and is now trying to track down oval track regular Jimmy White in that 17 machine for the 3rd spot. Is Riley Siebert now behind the number 35 of Noel Dowler. Noel working to the inside of his dad as the 64 of Matt Stephenson takes the lead out in front. So Stephenson leads. Jim White back to second. Here's a look on board the 16 car. Yanni trying to work his way up through the field, but up front, the 64 Matt Stephenson leads. Jim White in second, and now White will come to the inside. Joe, the home track experience paying off so far for both of those 2 drivers. The Penticton Speedway regulars out in front.
Absolutely. James White dropping it right down and pinning it right to the very bottom of the racetrack here at Penticton Speedway, making good forward progress. He just may get the lead this next time by. We'll have to have a look. The 31 as well, McIntosh. The 2 McIntosh guys, extremely strong in Saskatoon. Look for them to make good forward progress. Back up to the front, though. How about it? We still have a dead heat at the front of this one, Cole.
Yes, Jimmy White still picking away on the inside as you got a great look at a 3-wide battle further on back in the pack, riding on board with Riley Siebert. And still out in front, great race developing, is finally getting some green flag running. Jason White, the 33 car at the back end of this battle from the final spot, I believe, for the top 5, just outside of the top 5, trying to track down Adam Dowler for that final spot. Cameron Haley, the 42 car, working his way inside of the top 5. He is up to 4th already in the Captains by Haley 42 machine. As Stephenson working the outside lane, and Jimmy White still on the inside in the 17 car. Stephenson, though, able to get a better run. Looks like he's better through 3 and 4, but White comes to the inside of him as you look at Riley Siebert trying to track down his dad, Trevor, but back up front, look who's joined in on the party. The 94, Jesse Webb, making this a 3-horse race. For the top spot is Stephenson, finally edges ahead of White, and Webb, Joe, is using that outside lane to slingshot around the 17 machine.
Absolutely, Cole. And have a look at this. We got a 4-car dance at the front. You don't know which one's going to be first to 4th. It could change at any time here. As we got a slow car on the bottom, we'll have to pick up who that was and whether he's going to be able to make it to pit road. Hopefully we stay under green and continue this little bit of a long green flag run. That's what we kind of needed. These drivers get seated in. The difference here, Cole, ability and tire wear. Who's saving, who's using, and right now, I'll tell you, Dowler is definitely under fire.
And of course, you have to use these tires in the second race, the second Twin 100, as Jesse Webb already up to second, and now Webb will try and look for the lead on the 64 of Stephenson. Meanwhile, Riley Siebert being passed by Sean McIntosh back in the pack, as Siebert continues to try and charge his way up through the field, but Jesse Webb putting the pressure on Matt Stephenson in that 64 car as they come up on the 66 of Lee Howard to put him a lap down. Webb with a wiggle on the inside of the racetrack as Sean McIntosh, Trevor Siebert, Riley Siebert closing up in on these top 4 who are pulling away as Jason White in the 33 goes inside of Adam Dowler, working their way through the field as the laps continuing to click off here now after those earlier stoppages for yellows. Jimmy White now to the inside of the 64 car for second as Jesse Webb tries to pull away in the Applewood number 94. The driver is in his first season of racing full fender V8 rear-wheel drive stock cars, running showroom stock in the Nissan Sentra Cup back in Ontario and Quebec, as we mentioned. But three-car race, Joe, developing now for the second spot. White, Stephenson, and the 42 of Cameron Haley. But look at this gaggle of cars, Joe. They are three wide as Riley Siebert goes to the inside of his dad.
Talk about hornet's nest. You want to be in one? That's precisely what these guys are doing as they battle out side by side. And how about the battle, though, at the front? I can't believe this. And look who's coming, Cole. The 24 of Sean McIntosh, of course, winner of the second race of the year on the road course. But I got to look back to Saskatoon once again. That 24 car was consistent and right there the whole night. I know I picked him. He almost won it.
And Sean is somebody who raced the ladder up to Formula One, running in Formula 3, World Series by Renault back in the day, but got his start in quarter midgets with the Langley Quarter Midget Club that they have there in BC. So putting that early oval experience, very early oval experience, good work, working his way up through the field as Jesse Webb catching some lap traffic, getting to the outside of Sheldon Mayer, who had that spin earlier to bring up one of our early yellow flags. The 94 car now stretching his legs, pulling away from the rest of the field on lap 46 here as the number 94, Jesse Webb, finally clear out in front. Cameron Haley has worked his way to the second spot. 16 car getting a look on board of that machine, still working its way up through the field. But Cameron Haley now has a little bit of a task in hand to try and track him down, and now Riley Siebert to the inside of the 33 of Jason White further on back through the pack in that 33 machine. But Webb, there you can see the advantage he has back to Cameron Haley. But Joe, with driver of Haley's experience, you can bet that he is up on the wheel trying to track down that number 94 of Webb, who currently leads the way.
Absolutely. As we come back to the line, cross flags will be coming out here in short order. I guess, you know, if you were a spotter, Cole, you'd be saying to your driver, don't forget to take a breath. They've been holding their breath, trying to get all they can out of that race car. The driver's got to remember, take that breath. You're going to need it as the move-over flag displayed, trying to move some of those lap cars down out of the way as the leaders are coming. Jesse Webb's got a great race car here tonight. I'm really impressed with the talent that number 94 is showing early in his career. I can just imagine what that car is going to be doing in the future as Jesse Webb leads the field back to the halfway and beyond. This has been a really good race so far. Let's see how we make out.
It has been a back and forth battle as now Riley Siebert, you see one of the battles further on back in the pack, finally edging ahead of Jason White in the number 33 machine. Webb still new to this whole working through traffic on an oval. It's doing a solid job so far, but Cameron Haley inching away lap by lap as they work their way through traffic. And Cameron Haley in that 42 machine is closing in on the number 94 of Jesse Webb as they head down the back straight. So the number 94 car is still currently leading out in front as Cameron Haley trying to put the pressure on the young rookie. And we got a spin coming off a turn at number 4, Jay Logie. But Logie gets it into the pit area, so we will stay green. And the battle up front continuing to rage on as Jesse Webb out in front, that 94 machine, getting to the outside of Yanni Kerstos in the 16 car to put him a lap down. And one of those Penticton Speedway regulars, Cameron Haley up on the wheel. Haley, Joe, had quite a lot of time off from racing before he came back to this RS1 series. Only ran one race back in 2018, his last appearance in a race car until he ran in Saskatoon, but seemed like he had a good time on the prairies and running the rest of the season, Joe.
You know, Cole, he was really poised to win at least one of those races when I look back at it. He got tied up with the lap car, and it really messed him up. And it pretty well, he did finish up there, but he took what was going to be a really, really good day for Cameron Haley and put a little bit of a damper on it. But, man, he's really showing his experience. He probably just absolutely loves getting back into the seat of a race car, especially one of these RS1 Cup Series cars. And you can see him. He is now closed right in on that rear wing of the 94 of Jesse Webb. You got to be careful, though. As mentioned, Cole, earlier in this race, you only get one set of Goodyear tires, and they don't want to burn them all up in the first race. If you do, you don't get 4 new speakers in this deal. It is going to be tire management. As we go side by side down the backstretch of Penticton Speedway, lap cars definitely coming into play. 62 complete.
And that is a question of which way are you going to go with the lap traffic, as there goes the 42 of Haley to the point. Out in front, Cameron Haley takes the lead. Webb back to second using the 01 machine as a pick, as Cameron Haley in the 42 car is now your new race leader. Jesse Webb back to second, still a strong showing for the driver, the number 94 machine, as you get a look at your leaders pulling away from some of that lap traffic as they continue to sort their way through. Jesse Webb now, with Haley getting smaller and smaller out of his front windshield. Oh, car checking up, and your leader. Oh, no, Cameron Haley. Elisa Alexis in the 12 car got sideways down the back straight, spun out to bring out the yellow, and Cameron Haley, with nowhere to go, Joe, gets sandwiched into the outside wall. Tough break for the man who just got the lead in the cabinets by Haley, number 42 machine.
Yeah, tough ride there for Cameron Haley. 42 car definitely ramped it up down the backstretch. He's got some severe damage.
Jesse Webb leading the field back to the green, getting that number 1 spot back that was very shortly taken from him by Cameron Haley, but they are 3 wide for the race lead. Look at Jim White looking racy on the inside. His first RS1 series start since 2020. A little bit of contact as you get a look at the battle for the top spot from the 09 Super Seal machine. And Joe, they are still 3 wide going down the back straight. Still Stephenson in the 64 got the squeeze. Riley Siebert is right there in that 09 machine as the 17. Jim White still looking on the inside, getting it sideways, and that's going to allow Stephenson up into the number 2 slot. But Riley Siebert, Sean McIntosh, Noel Dowler right there, all making up the rest of the top 5 and top 10 as you got to look on board Mark McIntosh's car in the battle in front of him that's developing with some of those quicker cars that have to start at the back, working their way up front. Jesse Webb is trying to get some breathing room before guys like Riley Siebert get to the front of this pack, with Jim White in that 17 machine in third, now firmly planted on the bottom, and Riley Siebert having to go to the outside, Joe, to try and get around that 17 car. But the Super Seal machine, that car is always quick, and so is the driver.
Absolutely, yeah, incredibly quick. As the field starts to get single file a wee bit now, Cole, they're making a run. Now, take a look at the line that the 94 Jesse Webb is running on this track. Of course, Penticton Speedway is progressive banking, so you can pick different lines. Looks like the 94 is kind of comfortable right in the center of the speedway. Some of the other drivers choosing to drop down to the bottom to make up hay. And the 94 looking real comfortable. Probably not doing a lot of, heavy-duty tire wear on the right side of the race car. And that's a good thing. He's going to need those sneakers for race number 2. But he's doing a great job here in race number 1 tonight. The first 100-lap feature that we're going to see.
As Riley Siebert, he has worked his way up to second, and Jesse Webb could maybe have to use up a little bit of those tires as, we got ourselves some contact. Jason White got it big time into the left rear as the caution comes out. Sean McIntosh, Matt Stephenson involved. The contact between your top 3, Jim White involved, Noel Dowler, and Joe. Those are all guys that spent a lot of time working their way up to the front. Now with only, the laps winding down in this one, they're going to have to go to the tail for this restart.
Oh, tough deal. You don't want to do that with like 10 laps to go here in this first 100-lap set. This will send you for fits. And I can tell you, AVION Motorsports, the crew guys are going to be back there saying, settle down, gentlemen. We want to keep you on the racetrack. You know, the contact, the incidental stuff, these are tough cars. They can take a little bit of side slapping and a little bit of stuff, a little bit of rubbing is racing. But, you know, you don't want any significant damage like we see in the 42 Cameron Haley end up with down the back stretch. I think everybody's going to be okay here. Just a little bit of rattling around. What did Dale Sr. used to call it? Just rattling the cage.
Yeah, that was the famed Dale Earnhardt quote after he turned Terry Labonte to win at Bristol back in the 90s was he just wanted to rattle his cage a little bit, and I think Terry agreed that he sure rattled his cage when he was spun around. But field will bunch up into 2x2 formation here, and it looks like those guys will get their spot back at least because they were involved in avoiding the yellow flag. So Sean McIntosh on the inside of row number 2, Jason White, the 33 on the outside. Actually, that's Mark McIntosh, 2 McIntosh collision cars. Of course, Mark with the onboard camera. Sean having to go to the tail as in the 24 machine as we get ready to go back green as the field comes down. And one lap car that was kind of lagging back, Lee Howarth in the 66th. They're immediately going to have to contest with that, as that makes for an anxious moment for Riley Siebert, splitting the lapper. And Siebert will get to the outside contact with McIntosh in the 31 and Jason White in the 33 as Riley Siebert uses his experience in that lap traffic on the restart to get out in front of Jesse Webb. And now Webb, Joe, will have to play catch-up. We'll have to see if he has anything left for the 09 of Siebert.
No surprise really in this. Seeing Riley Siebert rise to the top in the closing laps of these races is a familiar sight really. Jesse Webb doing a great job going to school right now, watching the line that the 09 of Riley Siebert is running in that Super Seal machine. He's picking up. You know, this youngster is learning. He is a quick study, and he is starting to reel in that 09 car. He hasn't got many laps left to do it, but he is definitely going to have a shot at this as they head down into turn 3-4. We got some body panels flying. Cool.
That was, I believe, Jim White after that earlier contact. The 17 car looking worse for wear, but Jimmy's up on the wheel trying to get her up through the field. Yanni Kersau's in that number 16 machine, a lap down, but working his way back up through the pack. In the 16 car, meanwhile, up front, it is all Riley Siebert trying to get yet another win in that 09 car. It'll be his third win of the season if he can pull it off for the folks at Super Seal. And Jesse Webb impressing once more on the ovals, only his third start on an oval in the 94 car, running in second. And Jesse Webb trying to track him down. He did have the gap down a little bit, but it looks like Siebert's starting to extend things now in the 09 car as the laps continuing to wind down here in race number 1 at Penticton Speedway. And as Riley Siebert comes off at turn number 4, he will see the white flag. Joe, one more time around Penticton Speedway.
Absolutely. Riley Siebert in rare form, coming down the back stretch here at Penticton Speedway. In the center of 3-4, comes back to the line, and he will win. Race number 1 tonight at Penticton Speedway. The first 100 goes to the winner from the last time we were out.
And yeah, Riley Siebert continuing that streak in the 09. Jesse Webb in second. Jason White rounds out your top 3 in the 33 car with that contact. And fortunately, Jason, again, as he was involved in that incident, but kept it relatively straight, got his spot for that. And there you can see Jason's onboard cam rolling up onto the front straight just off of turn number 4 as Riley Siebert has found his way back to victory lane here at Penticton Speedway. After an exciting 100 laps, Riley Siebert climbing out of his winning number 09 machine down in Victory Square. Jesse Webb again getting a second place run in the number 94. Jason White third place in the 33. You can see the marks on the side of him as the 09 Riley Siebert getting presented with the winning check down there in Victory Lane. And we'll get a chance to catch up with your race winner.
Riley, congratulations on surviving that crash fest out there. Man, last weekend we raced here, no yellow flags tonight. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I think everybody wanted a piece of that whole race there. So early on, it felt like the first 40, 50 laps, I rode around and what felt like last place because there was just some calamity going on. So I decided, just do survival mode and see what happens here, and it ended up working out for me. And a little pick and roll on Jesse at the end there with the lap car. Unfortunately, unlucky for him, but played in my favor. And some ones you win, and some you lose. And just happy to get the Super Seal over 09 to victory lane again. 2 in a row coming off of Saskatoon now.
Well, congratulations, man. It's a great job of driving. And like you say, earlier in the race, you could see that you weren't where you wanted to be, but you were patient, you were smart, and you just outlasted everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. There's a bit of attrition there. It is hot out. It is hot in these cars. We're wearing cool suits, and I am still cooking here. It's amazing. So you can imagine what the tires are doing, what the brakes are doing, and then what the mental game for the driver does. It cooks you here. So yeah, it was a good race.
Well, awesome. Congratulations, and we'll see you back here for the second 100 later on tonight.
All right. Again.
Do her again, man.
It was a great race. 100 laps down, definitely hot. Probably the hottest I've ever been in a race car, but very successful P2 finish. We got a little bit messed up on the end there. Lap car didn't quite go far enough ahead, and we caught him into turn 1. I ended up not getting the line, and Riley was able to get around him. I think I could have held him off to take the win, but you know what? This is home track, and this is my second weekend ever on an oval, so I'm super proud of what I accomplished this race, so really happy with the result. Well, I knew from Saskatoon I was too gentle, and I needed to be more aggressive if I wanted to hold my position on the track. I got to show these guys, you can't rough me around. I'm here to stay, and I'm here to fight, and I'm not going to back down to a fight. So, really proved that today. Was able to put the elbows out and hold second.
Well, it was scrappy, man. I felt it right off the start. We were in the middle of the pack, so I knew it was going to be aggressive up there. It was a mix between extremely talented and not very much experience at all. So I kind of tried to pick and choose my moments there, but I just had barking dogs behind me. I had to go. And we worked our way up there, and then that last restart, I had to make a move up the middle and put it 3 wide at the flag stand here, and she stuck. And then we did about 5 or 6 more laps, and we're on the podium. So pretty happy to be here in Penticton and racing these RS1 cars with the AVION Motorsports crew. And just let's see, we start 3rd, I think, in the race number 2. Let's see if we can stay up there and maybe win this thing.
Well, Joe, we just heard from our top 3 here in race number 1 as Jason White climbs back into the 33 car to drive it into the pits to get some service. So you get a look at some of the cars getting some tender love and care in the pit area before that second twin 100.
We're leading through the first, about 40 laps or so, 50 laps or so, and disconnection to the dash, started a small fire right in front of me, so brought her in, got her tightened up, should have her for the second race here. Yeah, that's the thing too, right? We got tires with half the lap that the rest of the field has, so should have a shot at her. It's hot, man. Thank God for these cool box systems, because without them it'd be unbearable.
Well, my car is good. It's not a scratch on. Unfortunately, it was overheating, so I decided to pull it in. I had smoke coming in the cockpit, and it was 300 degrees in the oil and on the water. And it'll never last. It'll blow up with that. So, it's the fastest car here today, and I was able to get up to 3rd before the thing overheated. So, I'm not too worried about getting to the front again. It's 100 laps. I think I'll be okay. Might help me a little bit. Have a little fresher rubber on the car. So, might need it. We'll see if it overheats again. With that kind of temperature in there, for all I know, the thing might just blow up on lap 2. We'll see what happens.
Race number 6, just moments away from getting kicked off in Joe Chisholm. We had the first race in the heat of the day. Now the lights have come on. The sun is going down over the Okanagan Valley, and the track should be prime. You shouldn't have the heat problems that Riley Siebert was complaining about and some of the other drivers from race number 1, where it was getting pretty toasty inside the cockpits of these RS1 cars.
Oh, absolutely, Cole. These cars are going to tighten up now. They're going to have a different feel. We're going to have some drivers that have got better rubber on their car because they had misfortune in race number 1. Maybe some of those teams are going to rise to the occasion here. Going to be a tough deal to try and top that Riley Siebert. Man, that 09 car, that Super Seal machine, is on rails. It's working really good. You got a good wheelman behind it, but it's going to be an interesting race. I can guarantee you that. The fans here at Penticton Speedway getting a good one.
Riley Siebert starting on pole for this one with Jesse Webb at the outside. The field getting a bunch-up signal, and Joe, we are ready for the start. Pace cars pulling in.
Absolutely. One quick driver change to remind everybody of. The 67, not Billy Cole. We've got Graham Cook in that car. As the base car heads down pit road, here we go, Cole. Doubled up and back to green.
Riley Siebert leads the charge into 1 and 2 with the impressive rookie Jesse Webb the outside of the front row. Jason White comes in his inside the 33 machine, battling for second side by side for the position as they work their way into 1 and 2. But early on, it is Riley Siebert getting the jump on the start, as in the previous Twin 100 he had some of the faster cars working their way from the back. That's not the case. They are now up in the front. Those drivers will try and pull away from the rest of the field as Riley Siebert leading early on. Heino Siebert further on back in the pack, making moves to the inside of Mark McIntosh. As you get a look on board of Jason White's number 33 machine up into second. Here is the number 69 machine, I believe, of Trevor Siebert, who we are riding on board with, as the 09 car. Riley Siebert out in front, working their way down the front chute into turns number 1 and 2. The 10 of Heino Siebert still on the inside of the 31 of Mark McIntosh. As the 09 car continuing to lead. Heino now up inside of the top 5 there, Joe. And Noel Dowler, I see, is at the edge of the top 5, working his way to the inside of Mr. McIntosh, the 31 car.
Absolutely. These cars are going to feel totally different in race number 2 than they did in race number 1. And it looks like the same old Riley, and right back to where he sort of left the first 100. But have a look at the 33 of Jason White. Jason did finish on the podium race number 1 if you're just joining us tonight. But he is on the move right now. He is stalking that 09 Super Seal machine. Wants this race lead, and both track positions, everything in these cars, they're evenly matched. AVION Motorsports does a great job with these cars.
They are quite evenly matched, and of course you want that track position so you don't have to work hard and burn up the tires. Not so much tire saving going on here in the second of 2 100 lappers, as you don't have to run another race after this on this set of tires, as Noel Dowler makes his way to the inside of Heino Siebert for the 4th spot. Riley Siebert out in front as Dowler now up to 4th. The 35 car who got the win in the first Twin 100 at Saskatoon is on the charge up through the field as Jason White so far unable to close in on the 09 car of Riley Siebert, as Siebert continuing to hold down the top spot, now closing in on lap traffic as the laps starting to click off here early on in this one. Jason White, though, starting to kind of eat away a little bit at that race lead as Dowler closes in on the number 94 Jesse Webb, and this is on board of Trevor Siebert for a moment. He is in line behind Sean McIntosh. There you can see, Joe, the number 35 of Dowler closing in every single lap as leader Siebert deals with some lap traffic.
He sure is, Cole, and you know, I'm picking up on a little bit of a different line here. Drivers maybe a little more content this time around to stay up a lane. Of course, Penticton Speedway, progressive banking gives the drivers some options if they want to, pin the car down to the bottom. We all know the fastest way around any speedway is the shortest distances around the bottom. But you want to keep the momentum up, and definitely in these cars, momentum means everything. As the 09 car drops the 66 down 1 lap.
Yeah, Lee Howarth in the number 66 machine as Riley Siebert continuing to lead the way. And the number 09, Jason White now with the opportunity to close as Noel Dowler has got to the inside of Jesse Webb in the number 94 machine, with Siebert still out in front, now able to stretch his lead as they got around the lap traffic. Not too much traffic to contest with now for the next lap or so. For Siebert, who, Joe, as you mentioned, those top cars kind of running the middle line and then coming out wide through that progressive banking at 3 3 and 4. Of course, the original banging here at Penticton Speedway. Still in 1 and 2 with those very distinctive bumps that the Seabirds are oh so good at getting through, as Riley proved during the Western Rattler 300 weekend, getting looked momentarily on board of Trevor Siebert's machine. As Noel Dowler, the man on the move, Joe, you can see him just at the edge of the picture, trying to get to the inside of Jason White. Dowler is up on the wheel here early on.
He sure is. Elbows up. And Noel Dowler just loves running short tracks like this. He had good success out in Saskatoon. Looks like he's putting the move on Jason as they exit turn number 4 back to the stripe. I think we got to give that lap to Noel Dowler.
Dowler, yeah, he is making his presence known to the inside of Jason White, as just back behind him, another side-by-side battle as another lap being put on the number 12 machine of Lisa Alexis. Jesse Webb hanging on with Heino Siebert to his inside. Jason White still keeping about that constant gap between him and Riley Siebert. What you didn't see from the onboard cam, though, is he has Noel Dowler all over the inside of him in the 35 car. Jesse Webb still holding on to that 4th spot. Sean McIntosh just outside of the top 5. And Joe, this just shows how this racetrack is a 2-lane racetrack, and maybe even 3 lanes at some point. As there you see Noel Dowler take the 2nd spot, Joe, and you can bet he's going to be putting the pressure on Siebert soon for the lead.
Yeah, you want to believe it. Riley Siebert would have been looking in the mirror the last few laps here, going, have at her, guys, stay side by side. The more they stayed side by side, the better it off. Better it was for Riley, but now they've got that train broken, and how about this? Noel Dowler looking low as they flash past the start-finish line down into turn number 1 and 2. Noel Dowler really keeping his eyes out front. The 09 car of Riley Siebert's going to have his work cut out for him by the look of this one.
And you saw just a few moments ago from Jason White's onboard cam, once Noel Dowler got past in that 35 car, how much ground he has made. And looking back here to Mark McIntosh's cam, you can see how the top 6 have really pulled away from the rest of the field, as Noel Dowler right on the back bumper of the 09 car of Riley Siebert for that race lead, and Jesse Webb is closing in on the number 33 of Jason White for the 3rd spot. There is the view from Jason White's number 33 machine as the top 2 pulling away, and Riley Siebert's really had to get up on the wheel here to hold back the 35 car of Dowler, who didn't really show what he had there in that first Twin 100, but coming back strong. And now Joe going to the inside of Siebert for the race lead.
Absolutely, side by side through the turns. They come off of turn number 4 back to the flag stand. Riley still got that lap just by, I'm not even going to say a fender. I'm going to say the width of the fiberglass, but that's the end of that. The 35 Noel Dowler squirts out to the lead, down the back chute, and he will lead lap 30 here tonight at Penticton Speedway.
And Joe, while the leaders were battling up front at the tail end of that shot, I saw, contact. You can see the 64 car, Matt Stephenson, step out and get into the side of the number 69 of Trevor Siebert, and the first yellow comes out here in race number 1. But Joe, unlike race number 2, unlike race number 1, however, which was stop and go at the start, this one had a fairly long green flag run, and we got to see what these drivers could do early on in this race.
Well, absolutely. They got the feel of what they've got underneath them now, and that's a welcome sign.
Sean McIntosh has been killing them with consistency so far. Of course, one win on his natural habitat, you could say, of the road course at Area 27, but still new to oval racing. We mentioned in the first race, though, way back, Sean started his racing career in quarter midgets, of course, running road racing over in Europe, winner in the A1 GP series back in the day for Team Canada, and then taking some time off of racing before getting involved with the RS1 series in a big way. Of course, he's got his sister, Lisa Alexis, and his cousin Mark McIntosh also involved in the 31 car as the lights will go out in the Penticton Speedway AVION Motorsports pace car. We will get ready for a restart, and Noel Dowler, Joe, will be looking to try and pull away from that Super Seal 09 machine of Riley Siebert here on this restart, Joe.
Yeah, Absolutely. He is going to try and do a little bit of mind games. Don't think they're going to quite work with Riley Siebert as the green flag comes out. Noel Dowler by, I don't know, a wheel down low into turn number 1 and 2. Down the back stretch they go. And now look at this. Riley Siebert's going to either want to pull in or that white car is definitely going to be taking a spot. They go single file, 1, 2, 3, and then doubled up all the way back.
So the number 35 of Noel Dowler out in front. Looks like the inside lane, the preferred groove on the restart as everybody then moves up a lane after the restart to run through the middle section of the course. There you can see Heino Siebert making a little bit of contact with the 16 car in that battle further on back in the pack. Jason White now trying to put the pressure on the 09 of Riley Siebert for the second spot as the 35 car, Noel Dowler, pulling away from the 09 machine of Siebert for that race lead. And Dowler now trying to get some breathing room in between him as Sean McIntosh, the 24 car, is putting the pressure on Jason White in the number 33 machine, getting at his inside as Trevor Siebert with a lot of work to do. Here you can see the 24 of McIntosh going to the inside of White now for that third position and give in to the Kermack machine. So Sean McIntosh, the 24 car, up to the third spot. Jesse Webb hanging on to fifth, battling back further on in the pack there with Trevor Siebert and Graham Cook. But up front, Joe Noel Dowler proving that he has what it takes to run up there at the front, but he will have company from a guy that he made a little bit of contact with at Saskatoon, the 24 Sean McIntosh here in just a matter of laps if McIntosh can get by Siebert. Oh, looks like a yellow.
Oh, yeah, there we go. 66 around. Everybody's going to avoid. And that does draw. This is only, what, the second caution of the race. You guys are doing pretty good. 37 laps complete here at Penticton Speedway. You like what you see, race fans, on your screen? You don't want to miss it. These RS1 Cup Series cars are right back here at Penticton Speedway on August the 20th, so make your plans. You couldn't come to a finer facility and a better spot to come and see a race. Just, it's picturesque, great speedway, and you'll thoroughly enjoy the night. August the 20th, these guys are back.
And you saw Trevor Siebert once again into the pit, still struggling with the number 69 car.
Yeah, he is, and you know what, you got to feel for Trev. He hasn't had a podium finish since the beginning of the year. Back at Area 27, I believe he finished third in race number 2 out there. And he struggled in Saskatoon. The 69 car just had small gremlins. I know they had a little bit of issue with the carburetor, and he threw the proverbial kitchen sink at it. He came out and he did get the car going, but it looks like Trevor Siebert's still struggling here, but you can never count this guy out. When he gets things lined up, look out, Trev is one of those guys that can get the job done. Everybody lined up, side by side, double, they are. Pace car going to hit pit road, and Cole, get ready, they're going to pull the trigger.
Field nice and tightly bunched as Siebert actually gets a little bit of a jump on Dowler, working their way into 1 and 2, and we'll have to see if Riley can put that top side to work, but Noel coming back strong on the inside, the 35 car. They'll go toe-to-toe for the race lead coming off at turn number 4, and Dowler just edges out Riley Siebert in the 09 machine, but Riley coming back strong. Here comes McIntosh, though, as Siebert will have to watch if the 24 car gets to the inside of him, Joe, and again, Sean McIntosh proving why he is a very good wheelman in pretty much anything he gets into, and somebody that you don't talk about a whole lot, but always sneaks his way into the picture in that 24 car.
Yeah, that's called a professional. Stucker driver, definitely Sean is one of those guys. Have a look at him, too, pinning it right to the bottom. The 24 car did that as well back in Saskatoon, and that's where he was making all of his moves. He was one of the only cars on the speedway that could really hold the car to the bottom, and it's paying dividends right now as he's up into that second slot.
And here he comes, trying to go for the lead in the 24 machine, but Noel Dowler uses that momentum around the outside outside to hang on. But yes, Joe, as you mentioned, the 24 Sean McIntosh clawing on the inside for the race lead as they come off of turn number 4 side by side as they go into 1 and 2. And Dowler using that outside lane to keep the momentum up. And McIntosh has the power to get by him. And we've got ourselves a new race leader, the 24 of Sean McIntosh out in front with Noel Dowler back to second.
It'll be interesting to see if Sean keeps the 24 pin to the bottom. It does put a little bit more wear, a little bit more heat on the right side rubber on these cars when you do pinch it right down to the bottom. But so far, the 24 car showing the rest of the field, this is the lane to run in at this point in time. And now look at it coming through turns 3, 4, drifts it up a little bit. So a little bit of both. And Noel Dowler will be watching the line and trying to adjust to see if he can gain it. But he hasn't got much time. 0-9 of Riley Siebert, great on his rear deck lifter.
And of course, with how equal these race cars are, that those adjustments in driving pay dividends as the run goes on, as Riley Siebert tried to take a lead to the inside of Noel Dowler for the second spot. McIntosh having some problems with the lap car getting to the inside of it, the 66 machine. As down the back straight they will go, clear the lap traffic now, and Sean McIntosh trying to pull away. But we saw this in race 2 as well in Saskatoon, where McIntosh got out through the midway, but Riley Siebert was able to run him back down. And same kind of deal in race number 1, where Dowler got out in front of him, and McIntosh was the one who wasn't able to close in the 24 car.
You are correct. We also got another little bit of a change here. The 94 Jesse Webb. Someone said, hey, it's Jesse. We're almost halfway. It's just about time to go. And Jesse Webb moved him up into the 4th spot. Jason White slides back just 1 spot. Could it be by design? I can't help but think that in these cars, you want to cool the tires off. Remember, they're on the same rubber they were on for race number 1, so you do have to conserve a wee bit here. And you never know, Jason White playing a little bit of strategy. Of course, he's ran on the big tracks at Daytona, Talladega, Phoenix. Jason White is one of those guys that will play the strategy game inside that race car. It pays dividends every now and then, but the top 3 look awful strong here tonight in Penticton.
Yes, it doesn't look like anybody's relaxed out in front as Dowler was closing in, but had a little bit of a bobble in 1 and 2 that time, allowing McIntosh to have a little bit of breathing room. And Jesse Webb, as you mentioned, Joe, was closing in on the top 4, but a few laps ago had a big bobble in turns 3 and 4 and lost ground to the leaders. But those top 3 cars are really kind of in a class of their own by the looks of things as they continue to put cars laps down. Coming up on Jack Herniuk at the 0-1 machine, and Jack, one of the Challenge Series or Cup Series drivers in that 0-1 machine, getting to the inside, leaving plenty of room for the leaders to come by on the outside. Sean McIntosh out in front in the 24 car as Noel Dowler continuing to get smaller and smaller in his rearview mirror. And here's a look on board. Oh, Siebert, Trevor Siebert that is, going to the inside of Heino Siebert and making contact to bring out the yellow flag. And you saw that look on board of Trevor's car. Just looks like 2 guys going for the same piece of real estate, and unfortunately there wasn't enough room for the both of them in 1 and 2.
No, there wasn't. It doesn't take much. Now, I say that. These cars are really planted well to the speedway. AVION Motorsports does a dynamite job with these. All equally prepared machines. They stay right in the AVION Motorsports shop. Al Labert and his full staff take care of these cars. If you're interested, you're a stock car driver, maybe looking in on tonight's race, and you want to know more about these RS1 Cup cars, there's the Challenge Series, the Cup Series, and you can find out more about them. Just get to avionmotorsports.com, and tell you what, you'll dig into this. They are the real deal. Lights out atop of the base car. Beautiful Chevy Camaro is going to go down pit road, and they're coming back to the striped green flag back out, the 24 car of Sean McIntosh right down to the bottom of the speedway to his outside, the 35 of Noel Dowler in third spot, the 09, Riley Siebert, and the 94 car making forward progress. That's Jesse Webb.
And look at the 16 car, Yanni Kiersauce, to the outside of Jason White for the fifth spot. With the 24 car, Sean McIntosh out in front, and Noel Dowler slotting into second, just as we saw the running order there before that caution came out. As the 94 Jesse Webb again up inside in the top five in the fourth spot. Another impressive run from the driver, still new to full-size stock car racing as well as oval racing, trying to make his presence known in that 94 machine. Martin McIntosh was going to the outside of Jason White, and now here it comes. White back to the inside, the 33 car with the 31 of McIntosh on the outside for the sixth position. As up front, though, Sean McIntosh still leading the charge with Noel Dowler right behind him, Siebert in third. And we'll get a look on board of Trevor Siebert's machine. Jim White with the back end hanging off the 17 machine. Well, I'd say the back end's hanging off, but there is no rear clip on that machine. It's significantly damaged. The rear deck lid and bumper cover pretty much gone on the 17 car, just indicative of how rough and tumble it was in race number one, Joe. But fortunately, knock on wood, no such problems here in race number two. Everything's been fairly clean and green, save for one or two little taps.
Yeah, just a couple. The 17 car, we'll call that vented. What do you say we do that? It's a hot night here at Penticton Speedway, as the action on the racetrack is as hot as the temperature. The 24 car of Sean McIntosh doing a great job, and you can see the line that he is running. He's still keeping it down to the bottom, maybe not in great down, trying to get a little bit of both worlds, if you will. The 35 of Dowler not letting Sean get too far away from him. It's going to be one of those closing laps. I think we're going to have some fireworks here at the end of this video.
And Dowler, who we saw earlier kind of slipping back from the 24 of McIntosh each lap, has been able to keep the pressure on the number 24 machine as Riley Siebert in the 09 car into the inside of the lap traffic. And now McIntosh, though, starting to kind of open back up that advantage. It kind of gets out to about 3 or 4 car lengths, and that's when it stops. And then Dowler will reel him in for 2 or 3 laps. Then McIntosh will pull away, just indicative of who's getting the better traction or runs. You're getting it in deeper with these tires, and that dramatic fall off now with close to 200 laps, approaching 200 laps here on these Goodyear slicks.
I'll tell you what, a few of these cars would just love to have some new Goodyears on the outside, at least the right side tires, but in this series, you run the tires that you start with at the beginning of the day, and it teaches you, right? You gotta do tire management, you gotta keep the car, you hear the guys say it all the time, you gotta keep the nose clean, gotta keep the car underneath me, and for the most part, these teams are doing a dynamite job. You got a mix of experience on the racetrack. You got the 24, Sean McIntosh, a crafty veteran, if you will. In this sport, doesn't matter whether it's road course, stock car, oval track. Sean has got experience in all of it, and so does Dowler right behind him in that second spot. Whoa, we got some trouble down in turn number 1 and 2. The 33 car goes around. Caution is out.
Looks like it was 3 and 4 there, but Trevor Siebert, again, trying to work his way up through the field, getting together with Jason White, and the 33 cars spinning out here, but as soon as Jason gets up and running, looks like another quick yellow here for the AVION Motorsports RS1 series. We'll take another quick commercial break and come right back with more of the action here at race number 2 at the series' first stop in 2022 at Penticton Speedway.
And welcome back, everyone, to Penticton Speedway. Tonight, the RS1 Cup Series on the racetrack. We're getting to the closing laps of this one, Cole Sorensen. What are you thinking? Who do you think's moves. Do you think the 24 car can stay out front, or do you think that SB09, the guy that has had real good success in whatever he drives, Riley Siebert, always seems to be the guy that comes up at the end just to steal that checkered flag?
I wouldn't count out Riley Siebert, or maybe if these leaders tangle, you could see the 94 of Jesse Webb maybe work his way into the picture. Don't forget about the guys in 4th and 5th. Of course, Yanni Kyrgios in the 16-car Penticton Speedway regular, also at the tail end of this field. So, Joe, there's still a whole lot of moving and shaking that can go on here in the later stages of this race.
Yeah, we got to give a tip of the cap, so to speak, to Graham Cook and that 67 car. That was a driver change. He is making some forward progress. He's getting right up there with Jason, and you never know what Graham could do behind the wheel of the 67, but the lights are out atop of that pace car, and it will head down pit road. And I don't know, Cole, do you think we can go clean and green from here to the end?
Well, we're about to find out, Joe. It has been done before. The 24 car, Sean McIntosh, will set the pace. He's bringing the field down pretty slow and jumps on the lap pedal as they work their way through the restart zone. And Sean McIntosh with the early advantage. Dowler almost holding up that outside lane and allowing Riley Siebert to get to the inside of him in the 09 car as McIntosh out in front. Joe, you were saying Riley Siebert could pounce. He's trying to do so at the inside of Dowler for the second spot as they head down the back straight.
Yeah, and the 35 of Dowler probably didn't anticipate the 09 car to drop to the bottom like that. Riley Siebert's been making up all of his ground about the middle of the speedway, and he's masterful up there in that lane. Cole probably didn't expect the 09 to drop down. He did. He's got position, and now the battle is on for that second spot as the 35 does squirt ahead and gets that second spot. The 09 car will learn something there, I can guarantee you.
And he's going to try to go to the inside again, coming down the front straight. You can see the onboard cam as Riley deep on the brakes, slides up into the side of Dowler, and that's going to allow Jesse Webb to get to the inside of him, but Dowler slams the door on him, but some damage to the side of Noel Dowler as Webb squeezes Siebert out in the 09 car. Yanni Kyrgios coming to the inside in the 16 machine, and some fender banging and trading paint going on here, Joe, as Sean McIntosh was loving that in his rearview mirror because that's allowed him to pull out almost a straightaway advantage over the rest of the field.
Good old Saturday night stock car racing is what that's called. You gotta be up on the wheel, you gotta be aware, and Jesse Webb takes advantage. And really cool to see there, he's a young driver. This is new to him. And we heard comments after race number 1. Jesse said, gotta be a little more, a little bit more aggressive. And man, he's showing it here tonight. He's not over aggressive, but he's standing his ground, and that's what you gotta do. Give that third spot to the 94. He earned it.
The 94 noticeably has some donut marks along the side of his machine as he tries to track down Noel Dowler, who again has that damage. And Riley Siebert on board with him now having a lot of work to do. And Siebert really sent it going into turn number 1. The back end stepping out a little bit too hot into that first turn, and that allowed the back end to step out in the 09 car and him to get into Dowler. Dowler with a little bit of damage to the side of the 35, but not affecting him as he is still in the number 2 spot, but out in front, Sean McIntosh hoping this race goes clean and green until the very end because he has a nice, comfortable advantage over the rest of the field in the number 24 car, and again, clicking off laps at the front of the pack, running lower pretty much than anybody else has been throughout the rest of this race there, Joe, as Trevor Siebert problems into the pits under green this time, so Siebert will lose some laps in the number 69 car. Tough break for Trevor Siebert, of course, the owner of Penticton Speedway, as Noel Dowler, though, back in the rhythm, Joe, and once that gets, and just as we see Jesse Webb got tagged by the lap car, you can see that out of the windshield of Mark McIntosh. Webb into the outside wall. Howard spinning in the 66, and a very tough break for the young driver in Jesse Webb.
Man, you hate to see it, but and there was just slight contact there. Jesse Webb is stopped up on the high side of the speedway. The 66 is around. More damage probably to the 94. That'll knock the toe out of the front end of that car and make it a real challenge to continue. We'll see if the 94 can continue. Yeah, driver's okay. Car, not so much. They got some work to do on that 94 machine. But, you know, I do believe, Cole, when Jesse looks back on tonight's event, he has learned more. He's going to, like he's a sponge. And look at that. The car is rolling. Let's see if Jesse can continue. Maybe we were putting him out before he should be. Like, the car looks pretty good rolling around.
It did look like it had a little bit of a tire rub in the right rear there, but, you know, Jesse is up there in the points deal, so hopefully he can limp it around, but no, it does look like he is coming into the pits. So Jesse Webb, problems for the 94 after some pretty significant contact, and sometimes those side slaps, while they don't look like they did much, there's still a lot of energy being exerted directly into that concrete wall. Sean McIntosh, who is trying to hang on to the race lead in this 24 car with Noel Dowler on his outside in the 35, and we will see if McIntosh can use that inside lane, which he has done oh so well throughout this entire race, to jump ahead. The 35, the Green Joe is back out once more.
That side-by-side battle continues at Penticton Speedway. The 24 of McIntosh, the 35 of Dowler to the high side. And can he gain the momentum to pull the pass off? It's looking good, but he can't quite get clear as the cars stay side-by-side. Both rows, first and second row, those are all battling for position.
Riley Siebert now with the 16 of Yanni Kierstad on the outside of him, but up front, Dowler really working that outside, and both cars of McIntosh and Dowler getting a little bit sideways as they work their way off of turn number 4, and Noel Dowler will clear McIntosh for the race lead. So Noel Dowler out in front, but McIntosh coming back on the bottom, and Joe, the early race leader in the 35, is back out in front.
Sure is, and he did it on the big side of the speedway. That's saying a lot. He must have been saving a wee bit by the look of it, because Noel Dowler has got that 35 car doing exactly what he wanted it to do. He's not running the bottom. He is staying up on the banking here at Penticton Speedway, and it seems to be working really good for that Ford right now.
And how about the Penticton Speedway regular? The 16 car, Yanni has been up on the wheel throughout this thing and is up into the third spot. Riley Siebert behind him, the race 1 winner in the 09 car for the folks at Super Seal, but out in front, Noel Dowler pulling away from Sean McIntosh, and McIntosh, who was dominant on the last few restarts, fading here in the final few laps, but now back to the bottom. McIntosh, you can bet, Joe, he's going to be in that race car trying to work different lines, seeing if he can maybe get a run on the number 35 machine of Dowler and try and find any way he can to bridge the gap to the race leader in these waiting laps.
Absolutely pinching it right to the bottom, trying to get the most he can out of the 24 car. Of course, this race, as well as race number 1, all for Super Seal Championship points. You want the points, and the pay window is about to open. That'll always get these guys up on the wheel as the move-over flag comes to the 66. Luckily, he didn't drop to the bottom that time. Cole, we would have had sport contact.
Yes, but that has allowed the 24 of McIntosh to close right in on the 35 of Dowler as they come down the front straight. Riley Siebert to the inside of Lee Howard now to put him a lap down, as Siebert has gone back up to the third spot in the 09 machine, but up front, here it comes Sean McIntosh back to the bottom as they come off at turn number 4. Joe side by side, nearly side by side. Now they'll be side by side in 1 and 2.
He's got to keep it there. He has to stay in there and not let the 35 get clear. The 35 of Dowler on the high side of the speedway, and the lap traffic is going to come into play here. Something's got to give.
Down the back straight they will go. The number 35 machine of Dowler out in front, getting a look at Mark McIntosh further on back in the pack, working his his way, trying to work his way inside of the top 5. But up in front, coming up on Jesse Webb, managed to fix the 94 car so he can ride around and get some of those points. Webb will pull out of the way, but it's kind of running right where Dowler has been, so Dowler having to compromise and a little bit more contact there, Joe, as they work their way down the back chute.
Side by side, and just about side by side for the last 15 laps here at Penticton Speedway. Talk about even match. How about this? White flag out. Who's it going to be? Coming back to the line. Side by side as they go down the back stretch, give the advantage to the 24 of McIntosh. But here comes the 35 of Noel Dowler. To the high side, back to the line, give it to Dowler.
How about that finish, Joe? And it came down to the last lap. That lap traffic allowed McIntosh to close in, but Noel Dowler uses the momentum of the high line to come back around McIntosh. Had a little bit of a bobble coming off of 4 through the midway of 3 and 4, and that allowed the 35 car to get out in front. So Noel Dowler picks up his second win of the season, and we'll roll into Penticton Speedway Victory Square as your top 3 pull up on the front straight. Joe, what a race that was for the last 10 or so laps.
That's what I love about this RS1 Cup Series. Avion Motorsports, hands down, doing a fantastic job. When you see twin 100s like we seen here tonight, and you get a finish like that for lap 200, man, that's what fans want to see. And I'll tell you what, the drivers just come off the chip to get it done.
Looking at Noel Dowler inside of the 35 car, getting the safety gear off of him and getting ready to climb out of the winning machine down there in Victory Lane as Noel Dowler, after a very long 35 laps, here comes Sean McIntosh to congratulate Noel. That was a great battle that those two drivers had in their respective machines as Noel Dowler, your winner, and we'll have a chat with him coming up here very shortly as you can see Noel pretty spent there after 100 laps where he was up on the wheel in that number 35 machine, and safety gear coming off down there in Victory Lane, and once again we'll have a chance to talk with your top 3. But Joe, here just before we talk with Noel, what a great race it was. We have about a few seconds here before Noel gets online, and yeah, great show here at Penticton Speedway.
Unbelievable. Great points day for the 35 and another great points day for the 24 of Sean McIntosh. Unbelievable. Riley Siebert had a good day. Good race, well attended, and well worth the money. I'll tell you what, these guys love it.
It has been a great show, and Noel Dowler has now made his way out of the number 35 machine, getting the trophy and the check down there in Victory Lane as he gets ready to talk with our crew down there on the front straight in just a few moments. That coming into place, we'll throw it down now to Noel Dowler.
Awesome, a little tired, but it's great racing. Competition was awesome throughout the field. Super Series was great tonight. I'm glad all the fans that came out. It was a great show, I think, that we put on, and yeah, good night.
Oh man, it felt good to lead most of the race. You know, like with my car, it's kind of like Saskatoon. I was really good on the long runs, being nice and smooth. And then I knew that last restart, Noel was going to give me a big go, and it was side-by-side action. Like, really, it's really fun racing with him. You don't have to worry about him being dirty or anything, right? So it was a great race. The road course is my thing, but I will have to come back in August and try again. But it was awesome race, really fun.
Yeah, a bit of a warm day here, and had to work hard today. Got the win in the first race, and I knew conservation was going to be important for those guys that had an early race in the first race and parked it and saved their tires. So conserve, and it was playing out for me. Let Noel go, let Sean go, and it was playing out, and I was just keeping up there. And then lap 70, 71, I kind of thought, it's time to go, and I just cooked it into one just a little too much. Lost the last, the back end. Couldn't get it to whoa up, and unfortunately slammed into the 35. Wheel on wheel, and I knocked the toe out of the car. Steering wheel was all of a sudden bent. Car didn't steer. Thought I had cut a tire, but it kind of held on for. It just had a massive understeer. So I decided, for the points, let's got to hang on here, see if I can, finish in the top 5. And so it just kind of, I don't know, kept the heat in the right front, kept it up, and battled with Yanni there for 3rd position for a while. And apparently, didn't do too much damage to the 35 because he came home with the win. So good for him. It's a bit of a repeat from Saskatoon. He won the first race in Saskatoon, and I won the second. Now I won the first, and he won the second. So it's another Dowler-Siebert battle about 20 years after our 2 dads used to battle. So it's definitely fun. Consistency's huge. Last year I had a lot of DNFs, car failures, stuff like that, or just getting too excited and getting into the wreck. This year I'm looking further down the track, looking up, seeing what people are doing, watching cars get wiggly, knowing what people's minds are doing, and kind of playing that chess match a lot better this year. And it proves it tonight. Like I didn't even have a car to be in 3rd. To be honest, it just after I hit Noel, it was just not a very good car to drive. But just keeping that willpower high and bringing that thing home as best as I can for Super Seal and for all the race fans. Just big shout out to Super Seal for helping me out for the last 2 years. They've been an awesome supporter of me. Been on for the late model stuff too. It's been a good year. Everyone at Avion's working their tails off, keeping these cars clean and shiny and fixing them when they're bent. They put long hours in, so hats off to the crew at Avion. And for the race fans that came out tonight at Penticton Speedway, thanks for coming out and supporting us.
Cole, we got to remind everybody to be back here at Penticton Speedway for the next round of the RS1 Cup Series coming up August the 20th. What a beautiful racetrack and what a great spot to come. And I don't care where you're from. Come across Canada, get a flight, they're cheap. Get out here to Penticton. You want to see these RS1 Cup Series cars one last time in 2022 on the Oval.
And of course, it was great racing all throughout. Every single spot was side by side at one point, battling for position. And why not come to Canada's wine country? Exactly. If there wasn't another reason to come to Penticton, the RS1 Series Penticton Speedway, Trevor Siebert and the gang doing a great job with its refurbishment. They've turned this place into a very racy racetrack here. Again, congratulations to the winners of the Twin 100s, Riley Siebert in the first race and Noel Dowler coming through in the second race. Joe, great show for both races, and again, a great time here for another RS1 Series race. Races 5 and 6 for the 2022 season. Of course, those valuable Super Seal points were up for grabs, and they are still up for grabs for 2 more weekends here in 2022.
Area 27 is where everything will wrap up. I believe it's, 30 miles down the road from Penticton Speedway. You've got a great oval track here, and of course, the road course just down the road. I haven't seen it yet, but I know you have. What a place.
It is a beautiful venue. Of course, Jacques Villeneuve designing the racetrack there at Area 27. Great elevation change, fast corners, flowing corners. Come to 90-degree hairpins. It's got it all. And all of these drivers that compete in the RS1 Series love that facility, and it'll be interesting with Sean McIntosh's consistency that we've seen on the ovals when he comes back at home on the road course at Penticton. You should watch for, the road course at Area 27, you should watch for him to maybe make some noise here and fight for that championship with Riley Siebert, Jesse Webb, and the whole cast of characters here for the RS1 Series.
You can check out more about the RS1 Cup Series. Just get to avionmotorsports.com. Trust me, you want to check this series out. If you're a young driver, maybe you're a crafty veteran, and you've stepped back from the sport. It costs a lot of money to keep one of these race cars on the track. You want to check out RS1 Cup Series, and you can do that at avionmotorsports.com. Cole, this has been fun working with you.
As always, fun working with you too, Joe. Thanks everybody from Avion Motorsports, Penticton Speedway, and Rev TV. Make sure you tune in to the next RS1 Series broadcast, and hey, maybe find yourself at the next RS1 Series race